I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing, which gives us the opportunity to address a broader point that I think has been mentioned. The ranking member, Senator Reid, alluded to it in his remarks, namely that the 90-10 rule and the loophole that enables for-profit institutions to count VA and DOD educational benefits as non-federal money, in effect, makes servicemen and women and potentially veterans more vulnerable. They are, as the ranking member said, in effect, people with targets on their back. Would you agree with that?
Senator, we agree that we share the concern, and it's not limited to for-profits, I'll be clear again, but we share the concern that given the way this program operates, there are some actors out there who may perceive our members as being dollar signs rather than
the
people.
loophole applies to for-profit colleges, correct?
You're the expert, not me. I'll take your word for it. I would not say that the question of financially benefiting from our tuition assistance program and from the student loan program is limited to for-profit institutions.
And in your judgment, are the recruitment abuses still ongoing?
We don't have. We are doing what we can to control it. We don't have. We can't say that we've eliminated student recruitment abuses. No.
So this is still a problem, and we need to grapple with this problem because there are literally hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money at stake, correct?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, I know there's been a lot of criticism of the action with respect to Phoenix, but at the time, that action was commended by a group of veteran service organizations, was it not?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, with the Chairman's permission, I'd like the October 27th letter entered into the record, Mr. Chairman, written by a number of the VSOs at that time.
By whom?
Veteran Service Organization.
Without objection.
Thank you. The solution to a lot of this problem then would be closing that loophole, correct?
Senator, that's not within the ambit of the Department of Defense. It's not our program. So I listen to you and Senator Reid with sympathy, but it's not an issue on which the Department of Defense currently has a position.
Why not?
Because it's a Department of Education and it's those departments that run that policy. So,
but American servicemen and women are the ones who are walking around with targets on their back, and I don't mean that literally. I realize that hyperbole sometimes can get us in trouble, but they are financially targets.
I understand what you're saying, and all I can tell you is I'm not aware the Department of Defense has taken a position on that issue.
Let me ask you, before my time expires, the University of Phoenix was put on probation in October of 2015, correct?
That's correct.
And then it was removed from probation on January of 2016.
That's my understanding as well.
What was the reason that it was removed from probation?
Senator, I can speak to that. After months of working with the University of Phoenix, after numerous productions of documents on their part to show what they were actually doing with regard to their workforce, disclosing their internal practices, I felt confident that the University of Phoenix was both cognizant of the rules and most willing to comply going forward. In addition to removing them from probation, however, I mandated that they be placed on a year of enhanced monitoring. And this is to ensure that our communication efforts in the years following the probationary period continue to be strong and very close and very collaborative.
My time is about to expire. I just want to reiterate my strong feeling. I don't know how many of the committee members share it, but we are the Armed Services Committee. We have a responsibility, I think, to assure that servicemen and women are not targeted, are not recruited as a result of abuses and other kinds of practices that exploit them. And I hope that the Department of Defense will take its responsibility perhaps seriously as well in this regard. I realize that education is not, to quote you, in your wheelhouse, but I think the welfare of our servicemen and women is. And I want to thank Holly Petraeus for her work in this area and others who have been working in it. And I want to thank you, Mr. Levine, for your very forthright testimony, as well as your colleagues today. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.